Hello everyone. Welcome to Salesforce Talks. In today's video, I'm going to discuss about one of the important feature that was introduced by Salesforce in summer 24 release. I'm using this feature to analyze the permissions in Salesforce org, and I hope it will be very helpful for you as well going forward. Being an admin, a developer, or a support person, we always face difficulties to analyze the user permissions in the Salesforce org. Let me show you with an example. So this is on Salesforce org. So here I have a user. This user is having 4 permission sets, and there are many permissions already enabled in the profile, and few other permissions are granted through this permission set. But I don't know what are all the exact permissions are granted in each permission set, and there is no option to view all the permissions in a consolidated view to analyze what are the objects or fields, what are all the user permissions the user is having. So we need to open one by one, uh, and then we need to analyze what are the objects or what are the fields enabled in this permission set or in the profile. It will take more time, right? So here Salesforce introduced a feature called get summary of user permissions. There is a new button introduced in the user object, and there are few other features as well in the permission set on the object level. I'm going to explain one by one. So earlier I used this managed package, this Salesforce Lab product. I used this app to analyze the user permissions, but it was not effective that much. Okay. So after this feature is enabled, I'm using these options in my day-to-day life and is very useful for me. Okay. So in this org, okay, so here the user is having 4 permissions set, right? So in the user record, you can see there is a button called view summary. So if you click view summary, so you will get all the permissions enabled to this user through this permission set and through this profile. Okay, let me click this button. Yep. So here it will show all the user details. And if you scroll down in the user summary section, you can see all the permissions. All the permissions are categorized like user permissions, object permission, field permission, custom, the queue membership, public group membership. So you can see here. So in the user permissions, all the system admin level permissions will be displayed here. For example, here you can see there are many permissions to create and customize list views, to create and customize reports. And if you go, there are manage user permissions, and then view setup permission also. So I need to know where this permission is granted, whether it is in the profile or whether it is through any permission set. Okay. So here there is a drop down, right? So if you click this drop down, you will get an option to see how the access is granted by. So if I click this option, so it will show how this access is granted to the user. So in the permission set, it shows this permission set, setup access. So this permission set is providing the setup access to this user. There is no permission set group. So if you go to the profile, this profile is also providing this permission, setup permissions. Okay. So the user is getting the setup access through this permission set as well as through this profile. So that's how we can analyze. So if you go to object permissions, so it will show all the objects here. So you can see for account object and all, the user is having only the read access. He is not having any other permissions. Okay. So if you scroll down, this is the custom object, employee object, right? So here you can see the user is having view all permission. So I want to know how the view all permission is enabled for this user. So if I go here, so you can see there are two permission sets giving the object access to this user. The edit permission set is giving only the read, create, edit, but this record access permission set is giving the view all permission. Okay, so this is the answer I needed. So I can't go and open all the permission set individually, right? For example, if the user is assigned with the 10 permission sets, it will be very difficult for us to analyze. But this feature is very helpful for us. Okay, so that's how you can see all the objects here. We can go and analyze one by one. So for example, there is one more object, salary. Here also you can see all the permissions are enabled. If I go here, it is showing different permission set. So this permission set is giving the permissions to this salary object, and the profile is also having the view all permissions. Okay. So if you go to the field permission also, you can see all the fields. Here you will get the options to select your object. So you can choose your object, and then you can see the field permission for that particular object. So you can select all the custom and standard object as well. This is the account object, standard object. So here we can see all the field permissions. Here also you have the option to see how the access is granted. Okay, and if you go to the public membership, so here we can see what are the groups the user is assigned with. And if you go to the queue also, you can see what are the queues the user is part of. Okay, so this is how you can analyze all the user related permissions by using the view summary button in the user record. Okay, so the same way how the Salesforce is granted the view summary button in the user record, they have provided this feature in the permission set as well. So this is one of the permission set. So here also you can see there is a view summary button. So if you click this view summary button, you can see all the permissions enabled within this permission set. Okay. So if you go here, you can see, so what are the permission set group this permission set is assigned. Okay, it is assigned to the permission set group 1. And if you go to the user permissions, you can see there is no permission, user permissions are granted in this permission set. If you go to the object permissions, it will show all the objects which are already enabled here. So one good thing is it is not showing all the objects list. So it will be very difficult. So it is showing only the objects that are granted in this permission set. So this is a very good option. And field permission also we can see. Okay. So if I go to another permission set, so this is a setup access. So in this permission set only I granted the user permissions. So if you go to the view summary, here we can see this is a permission set group it is part of. And if you go to the user permissions, you can see all the user permissions are displayed. Okay. If you go to the object permissions, here there is no object permissions enabled in this permission set. So this is how we can analyze the permission sets as well. What are the permissions granted in this permission set? Okay. The same way in the permission set group also you are getting the view summary button. So you can analyze all the permissions here. Even if the permission set group is having 5 or 10 permission sets, we can go and analyze how the permission is granted, from which permission set the permission is granted. Okay. So this is about the permission set and permission set group analyze. So the last feature is in the object access. For example, if you're creating a new custom object, the developer needs to ensure that the permission is enabled to the right level of profile and permission set, right? So here, if you go to this object, so in the left side menu, there is a option called object access. So if you go to the object access, it will show how many permission set are having access to this object. Okay, so it shows two permission sets which are all having read access, and this permission set is having create, edit access, and this permission set is having visual object to this object. Okay, and it shows the permission set group as well, and it shows the list of profiles as well. What are all the profiles are having access to this object. Okay, so this is how we can analyze the object related permissions as well. Okay, so I will share this release notes link, as well as there is a Salesforce article link. I will share this link in the description. So if you have any doubts, you can post it in the comment section.